All right, my name is Dave Skippers, and I'd like to welcome you to the information session on our Bachelor of Science in Information Technology programs. What we're going to do to kick off this webinar and information session is, first up, we're going to respectfully ask you to hold questions until we get to the Q&A section. At that point, we'll inform you, okay, we're ready to take questions. For the time being, I'd like to kind of kick things off and we'll get started. All right, so first up, the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, which is commonly referred to as BSIT, is part of our Information Technology Decision Sciences department. So our department, or ITDS, our technology people we love our acronyms, right? So ITDS, in essence, what we've been doing over the last 2 to 3 years, I'll say hopefully you're hearing it from a grassroots perspective, we have done significant changes to this program. It has focused on and enhanced the number of hands-on labs for practical learning and skill development. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. Another key item is that our faculty bring decades of experience, and that's real-world experience. So even our full-time faculty members are not what I would call or describe as career academics. So career academics, generally that term or phrase refers to people who, get their bachelor's, then they get their master's and immediately go into doctoral work and then start teaching. So they don't always have fundamentally field experience to bring to the classroom. Every single one of our full-time and adjunct faculty either currently have a career or they have had a career with decades of experience individually. As a collective whole, we have hundreds of years of real world experience to bring to the classroom on the subject matter that we're teaching. That experience ranges from local organizations all the way up to global, right? And it also includes private, public, government, educational. So there's a big cross section of experience across all of the different faculty within our programs. One of the key things that we focus on in all of our programs, but we do focus on it within our BSIT as well, is we focus on this concept of critical thinking and problem solving. That is a mainstay of the actual technology industry in general. I'll say rote memorization and the presumption that you can Google everything is not true. You have to have some actual skills in order to be effective and have a great career within this industry. And of course, we put together exercises and labs that help build that for you. So how and why did we build this program in the way that we did? So first up, we leverage advisory boards, student surveys, a lot of different data points to identify what are students after, what are hiring organizations after, and what skills and abilities and knowledge do we need to have in graduates to be successful in their career paths. One of the big things, especially in the technology arena, that when I was in industry hiring that I would struggle with is you would hire people out of a college program in technology, and they really wouldn't always have the right mindset for enterprise. They may not necessarily have all the skills embedded like they should. And we would have to take a considerable amount of time to train them up. What we have done with these degree programs and concentrations is we have actually gone back through and said, how would we build a graduate that we would want to hire being in the industry still? That is really the motivation of what you're going to see in front of you today. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the faculty within the ITDS department. So again, my name is Dave Skippers. I am actually the chair, and I am a professor that teaches within the programs. My subject matter expertise is automotive, cybersecurity, and cybersecurity. So if you end up taking some of those classes, you'll definitely bump into me. Professor Hayden is one of our data analytics, data science experts. He predominantly teaches at the graduate level. Professor Katabai, actually, again, data science, data analytics, as well as statistics. And if you are, he predominantly teaches at the graduate level. Professor Patz is our subject matter expert for programming, and he teaches predominantly, and we'll hear from him shortly. So he teaches specifically within the BSIT program, as well as Dr. Richards, who is our subject matter expert for IT leadership and project management, and she teaches predominantly at the graduate level. In addition to the full-time faculty that you see in front of you, we have a number of adjunct faculty members. They are continuing to work. They're working professionals, and they've been brought in as subject matter experts within the areas that they teach. And they bring that expertise and background to the classroom to help you build the skills that you need. All right, so why the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology? Let's jump into this. So first up, our program actually delivers both theory and real-world training. So we focus on hands-on experiences. So when you're programming, you're not reading about programming only. You're actually programming. When you're doing cyber or learning on cyber, you're not just reading about it and taking a quiz. You're actually doing labs that take you through commonly accomplished tasks within the field, right? So, and there's tens of hours of labs across each one of the concentrations. These are all built up to actually help you develop the skills and the trade craft that you need in order to be successful. Our program is nationally recognized. So we were one of the first schools in Michigan to be recognized as the Center of Academic Excellence by the NSA for information security, cybersecurity. We do also align with federal frameworks. We have 6 concentrations within the IT industry that you can choose from, depending upon your proclivity and interests and skill sets that you want to pursue. And again, all of the faculty that we have done these jobs and bring that real world experience to the classroom for you. So that's really where we're coming from when we're asking you to do labs. So, and again, our advisory boards very much review what we're doing and provide feedback and any recommended changes, etc. So first up, we do have a state-of-the-art cyber lab. Within that, we do teach technology tradecraft, and that is learning by doing. All right, we've talked about this a couple times now. I'm not going to beat this to death. It is a customized lab. You do get hands-on training. There is enterprise-level equipment and software that you get to cut your teeth on, right? There are live attack and defense exercises, and that is against other people, all right? So this is a unique approach. There's not very many places or organizations regionally within the Midwest, specifically within Michigan, that are teaching courses in this format. Tools and programming languages that you learn with us are the top end ones that are being hired now. So we're not having you learn arbitrary languages because that's what we know how to teach in. You're learning in things like Python, which is in demand, all right? All right, so as far as the actual courses within our BSIT degree program, I'm gonna kind of fly through some items here. So we have some professional core. There are certain things that you do need to know and be able to do. A lot of people assume when you're in technology, communication's not a big deal. It is. Hence why you see the courses that you do. Being able to communicate effectively with business and other people outside of technology is critical. That is how we actually help secure and deploy the infrastructure effectively and innovate. So those are all core competencies that you're going to need, as well as networking, databases, Everybody gets some programming, security. You want to get a little bit of management, and then of course analytics or statistical methods for business. Yes, I know you probably freaked out when I said statistics. Kind of chill out. We teach it from a business perspective, so it's more practical than theory. So keep that in mind, which is way easier to digest in my opinion. Additionally, every concentration has these core courses within it, which are systems analysis and design. This is critical. So what is system? How do you design it? How do you do analysis around it? How do you analyze the needs of the business? This is all critical start points within technology innovation and deployment, whether that's standard IT or cyber or auto cyber, et cetera. We have networks and operating systems, database and design, and then fundamentals of cybersecurity. Everybody goes through these. So of those 3 or 4 classes, there are activities within 402, but 405, hands-on labs, 408, hands-on labs, 417, hands-on lab. So that gives you a good perspective on where we're coming from on course development and rollout. So let's talk about the next, or the first concentration, I should say. So first up is automotive cybersecurity. A lot of people don't think about automotive in the context of cybersecurity. These are data centers rolling down the street now, okay? One of the things that I think a lot of people don't really critically understand, and I'll say this in general, is that our world is changing, and this concept of cybersecurity and cyber resiliency is changing with it. This degree program is very much about securing cyber physical systems. This is tailored to automotive, but this is actually all the skills in tradecraft that you learn within this can be deployed and leveraged in other things like SCADA, ICS, industrial control systems, manufacturing, Industry 4.0. This is definitely a cyber physical. So how do we secure systems like cars, the manufacturing line, robots, etc.? This is definitely within that wheelhouse. Everybody gets, so I'm not going to go through every single course here. There's a number here. Now, I would say let's highlight 419, ethical hacking. So this is red team. How do you attack? We do that so you become a better offender. 422 is kind of our hallmark in cyber classes, and that one is specifically tailored for live attack and defense against other people. When you learn how to deal with a human being on the other side of that machine, it changes. It changes the ball game, and it will enhance your skills. That's why we do it the way we do. There's not very many of our competitors who can even remotely say that, right? Then we get into the actual very specifically tailored automotive cyber classes. This is designed to take you from baseline of, if you don't know much about cars, what are the systems within cars? What are the networks? What are ECUs? How do they talk? How do we secure them? Literally 4 classes dedicated to that, to level you up. We also do have a car within our car lab, and we have the ability to connect into that car lab remotely. So that is actually developing now, and it will enable you to be able to have access and test out the different skills that you learn. All right, so let's change gears here a little bit. We're gonna go to standard cyber, moving away from auto cyber. And so let's talk through the coursework here a little bit. So there's a lot of different courses here that we feel kind of differentiate this program. First up, one thing that we should definitely call out here is, I'm going to quick go through, I'll talk about each of the courses here in a minute, but we're going to go through the number of courses in this concentration where there's hands-on labs. 407, virtualization. 410, software engineering. 412, advanced programming. 419, red team or cyber attack class. 422, attack and defend class. 440, cloud infrastructure. 460, digital network and forensics. 462, cyber physical systems and cryptography. All of these courses within this concentration, which is pretty similar to many of our concentrations, are all hands-on. We feel that this definitely plays into that tradecraft statement that you hear from us, as well as differentiates us from our competition significantly with the amount of hands-on experience and skill development that you're getting as you go through the coursework. Now, with that said, I'm going to kind of gloss through some of the courses here. Some people are like, why do we have programming in cybersecurity? I can tell you from experience being in industry that there's a lot of the times where you may need to write a script or do something else in order to fix problems and have those deploy across the enterprise, or to simply make things easier on yourself or your teams. So scripting and some level of programming is typically used in every IT and cyber job on some level. Red team or ethical hacking, that is so you can be a better defender. 422, that's a hallmark class. Our advisory board has said there are very few other folks running that, but there's a lot there to digest. And when you get into cyber and actually get into a live environment where you're dealing with other human beings on the other side of the defense or the attack, it actually suddenly makes more sense on a level that just reading books and taking tests, just can't suffice. Cloud infrastructure, obviously in today's world, this is very important. Forensics in incident response is obviously in today's world, with all of the attack and defense going on, and the events that happen on the internet, the ability to reconstruct and respond is very important. Security operations awareness is really preparing you for work in a SOC or security operations center. Many people, when they break into cyber, they start in a SOC. So this kind of helps lay the groundwork for that. And cyber physical systems, how these systems are secured and defended is significantly different than standard IT. So standard IT is like data and servers and laptops and websites and all of those kinds of things. But cyber physical systems are like medical systems, electric grid, automobiles, manufacturing with Industry 4.0. There's all of these different things. And how you defend and maintain those devices in their operations is significantly different than standard cybersecurity. So what we do is we bring this in here so that you're well-rounded. And then last but certainly not least, we have cryptography, which is a very important part of secure software and things that we do from a cybersecurity perspective. So again, a hands-on lab approach to understanding and comprehending cryptography. So with that said, and I know I kind of blazed through that, but what we're going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Tom Petz, who's going to cover some more of the concentrations for you.
Thanks so much, Dave. Now, my job is to take you through some of the other concentrations that we have, starting with the business information systems concentration, which we kind of designed to be a generalist approach to the BSIT undergrad. And we have things like project management in there. Then we get into server virtualization and performance engineering. We have 2 classes in programming that are designed to build up some core programming skills and disciplines that will help you as an IT professional in today's environment. We get into ethical hacking strategies and tools in IT 419, 422. Some real hands-on attack defend, lab-focused classes. Then we dive back into project management with IT 430. We talk about modern project management techniques that use Agile and Scrum. We get into cloud infrastructure, so important in today's world. And then we have the IT 499 capstone, and then there is a course in statistics in there. Next up, I want to talk about the programming concentration. And I'm really excited about this one because this is where I spend a lot of my time and energy and focus. And we've really taken a hard look at the industry in trying to come up with programming languages and other tools, techniques, frameworks, and kind of bundled them in together into a program that teaches a lot of core fundamental skills. You see that we start with IT 403 with project management. We have, again, the server virtualization performance engineering course. It's interesting how much of programming ties in so much with operating systems and how many scripts and things like that are operating system dependent. So we would like to have that foundation in place before we get into some of the programming classes. Again, you see IT 410, 412, building up some core programming skills, but then we offer courses in web programming. We teach scripting and automation, which is an awesome class. The students who take that have given great feedback about the content of the class and what it actually teaches them and how much they learn about scripting for servers and to automate different types of tasks that you might find on the job. And then we give you a choice between taking IT 415 or IT 416. The IT 415 class is a class in mobile programming. And when we teach that class, we actually teach it so that you can learn how to do things with Android or iOS and build projects up that way. The toolkit that we use works across both platforms very, very well. And we're really excited about that. And then we have another option, which is learning about embedded Linux programming. So these are IoT type of devices and really excited about learning how to get down deep within the nuts and bolts of Linux and how we can get embedded devices to do our bidding, if you will. Very, very fun class that we are excited about. And then we have IT 419 as part of the core there, and then Agile Project Management and Scrum, once again, you'll see here again, and then the Cloud Infrastructure class. Last but certainly not least is our project management concentration. And we're really excited about this one because there is such a demand out there for qualified, capable project managers out in the field who really understand both technical and the management side of things. So we start off this concentration with that IT 403 class, which you've seen in a number of different concentrations. We dive into Agile Project Management and Scrum, some risk management and governance, and then we jump into some graduate level classes where we discuss leadership fundamentals for technology professionals and just framing how to think within an organization from an IT perspective, how to communicate, how to persuade, how to get really projects accomplished within organizations. And then we get into some classes that are really designed to help prepare you for things like the PMP exam and just how project management is done in the modern enterprise. So it's not just about project management, but it's about program management and portfolios that you are managing. And then, of course, QM301 statistical inference is one of the other classes that is in the concentration as well.
All right, so let's briefly discuss some of the BSIT admission requirements. We're going to kind of gloss through these and certainly answer more questions later. But so you should have a minimum of a 2.0 for GPA on your previous college or university coursework. And you will need to have a certain number of semester credit hours in place, as well as a certain number of general ed. Now, some of that can be completed after, so you can, quote, dual enroll and complete out your community college portion if you so choose to, as well as start classes at Walsh simultaneously. There is English composition and some algebra requirements, etc. And all of those transfer credits need to come from a regionally accredited institution by HLC or the Higher Learning Commission. All right, let's talk a little bit about some additional items that are available to students. So, granted, everybody needs to understand that Walsh is, I'll say, is a slightly different college than most. Our average age of students is a bit different than most colleges and universities. So whether you're an undergrad student, looking to finish your bachelor's, or you're a graduate student, looking to retool to enter a different career, there are some important items that, in my opinion, Walsh offers, and these services are offered by some of our competitors. But Walsh, does some things differently with it, which I think accentuates why Walsh is quite a bit different. So first up, Walsh offers lifetime career services. So what exactly does this mean? So when we talk about this, different colleges and universities have career services, and that is true. What is slightly different with Walsh is that in addition to lifetime career services, there's a lot of different ways to engage and interact with employers. The employers and organizations approaching Walsh are looking for a different type of hire than what may be out there in other colleges and universities. Our student base appeals to a different type of employer for many different reasons, but in particular with career services. So they offer things like review your resume, help spruce that up to make sure that it appeals to the industry that you are applying in. They also are there to help you, in essence, practice, get ready, and retool if you're looking to transition. Obviously, at the time of your degree, in your classes that you're seeking with Walsh, they're obviously there for you, and that's great. We also pair with them as an ITDS group to help build events that enable you as an individual to meet potential employers, interact and network with them on a smaller basis so that You know, it's not giant career fairs with hundreds of people all competing for attention. So we offer, you know, for instance, we have IT Cyber Connections, which is typically a hallmark event for our ITDS group. This happens usually in winter. And we have a very select group of employers who come in because they want to meet the students and see what's coming through and what potentials are out there. And it gives students the opportunity to talk to potential employers about what they're looking for, and kind of make those connections, because frankly networking is one of the key pieces in order to landing a position. But this particularly is important because I've had students who have finished their degrees, and then, you know, they're out in the workforce, and obviously with COVID-19 and everything happening now, things can get a little chaotic, right? So you may find yourself in the future in a position where you have to look for another job or transition to another group, and then you can come back, you can work with career services, you know, you can talk with us, we can help you, you know, take a look at what's your skill sets, how do you apply that, and how do you get attention when you go out and do interviews and look for that next phase of your career. So again, like I said, many of our competitors offer this. I've worked as an adjunct at multiple institutions, and I can tell you that what's happening with the Walsh Career Services is quite a bit different, and there's a lot more emphasis on helping students place into the career path that they are after. Now, additionally, one of the things I would also stress is that Walsh's Information Technology Student Association, which is student-led, I would like to stress, this is not faculty-led, it is student-led, so there's student leadership that helps, you know, represent the student base. They provide different monthly meetings. Those are offered on a pretty regular basis for students who choose to participate. This is for undergraduates, so bachelors and masters as well, who would like to participate. Some of these events are just, you know, some are fun, so some are covering different technologies and skill sets that aren't, I'll say, necessarily typical within our program. But there's other events like they have speakers who come in, employers who come in, they do speeches, they provide information, they give you updates on the career paths and fields that are out there. So it's pretty diverse. It has a lot of opportunity for those who choose to use it. And I, of course, highly recommend any student to leverage this in order to expand their network. So one of the things, you know, granted, I understand some of you may be remote. What I would say is that we are located in Troy, which is in Oakland County, which is part of the Automation Alley corridor within Greater Detroit. Troy itself is actually a thriving business center with many global headquarters here in I'll say the city of Troy proper. And it is also pretty centrally located within, you know, the Greater Detroit area. So we have, you know, direct access onto 75. We do have connections with, so TARDEC, or the U.S. Army Ground Vehicle Systems Center, as well as, you know, we've done some research for them. We have other folks within the data analytics and data science industries reaching out to us as well. So definitely we're in I'll say, a great place. Those of you, if you are looking to, I'll say, get into a job here in the Greater Detroit area. If you're from outside the region, that's definitely an opportunity. Those of you in region, we of course have, you know, a lot of interactions here as well for you. So these are all just different options, and our location, you know, we believe puts us in a prime position to interact with all the different global companies in Greater Detroit. All right, so let's go through some general information about Walsh. First up, instead of 3 15 or 16-week trimesters, Walsh has 4 11-week semesters. So that enables you to basically, if you so choose to use the additional semester, that reduces your time to completion. So yes, we're going through basically the same amount of material. Instead of in 15 or 16 weeks, it's in 11. So it can be a little bit more intense, but in reality, it also allows you to reduce your degree time to completion. Additionally, our class sizes run around 25 max. So with that, you tend to have more interactions with the professors and get more feedback and things like that from them. Our current cost per credit hour is on screen. Additionally, when we talk about books and supplies, we try to keep that to a minimum. We are cognizant and we do pay attention to I'll say textbooks and supply costs for courses. We specifically try to keep those lower for everybody. And last and certainly not least, you do have access to tutors and open labs for extra assistance if you so choose to use that. And that is typically not at a fee to you as a student. So that is offered as part of what you get from Walsh. All right, so let's do a quick recap of why you should consider or choose Walsh's BSIT program. So you will train with enterprise level equipment. There is 6 concentrations that you can choose from, and these are aligned through our advisory board feedback to make sure that we are delivering graduates with skills that hiring organizations are looking for. Walsh was the first CAE, so Center of Academic Excellence for Cyber Defense within the state of Michigan. We're also aligned with the federal frameworks for the different security standards. Walsh has a cyber lab that you get to operate in and hone your skills with. In continuing the recap, we focus on, in addition to teaching you theory and comprehension, we also focus on developing that hands-on tradecraft skill. So technology tradecraft that will be leveraged within the industry. Next up, lifetime career services, as well as opportunities to leverage the ITSA Student Association. We believe we have a great location for those of you as far as if you're going to want to be on site or you want to know where we're located as far as the different groups that we interact with. Now, with that said, what we're going to do is we've just wrapped up the presentation portion. It is question time. This is my contact information on screen. If you want to reach out as opposed to publicly asking questions or something comes up later, you can certainly do that. At this time, you have a couple of options. So if you don't necessarily want to speak via the mic, you can actually type it in chat and ask questions. We will respond via voice, or you can turn on your microphone and then ask questions. So now is that time if anybody has any questions.